global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Global Happenings Today YouTube channel. Ever since the announcement of Dr. Yusuf Datti Baba Ahmed, there seemed to be a lot of excitement in the air and a lot of criticism going on right now. The likes of Deji Adeyanju, the activists, seem to have a different opinion totally about this matter. Then, of course, Alex Oti seemed to have a different opinion about it. Then, for some of us who did not know, there were conditions given by Dr. Yusuf Datti himself before he accepted being the vice presidential candidate, running mate to Peter Obi. You're going to find out all the juicy details and the conditions he actually gave to Peter Obi. So it wasn't as if it was a smooth ride, really. A lot of discussions, agreements, amendments, sacrifices were made along the line for him to come into the picture. Well, while the likes of Adamo believes that it's a waste of time and Peter Obi and his running mate can't even make any impact because they have really nothing to offer Nigerians. All this, we're going to wrap it up into one news. But before we do that, kindly click on the red subscribe button. Beside it, you see a bell notification icon. Please go ahead, click on it to get notified as soon as we update our channel on YouTube. Let's start with the conditions Dr. Datti Baba Ahmed gave to Peter Obi before accepting his VP. Well, the publisher actually told Nigerians that Senator Yusuf Datti Baba Ahmed, the Labour Party presidential candidate vice president, reportedly chose to be Peter Obi's running mate and gave some condition before accepting this position. Well, Mr. Obi had initially named his campaign director general, Doyin Okunkwe, his temporary running mate to beat the deadline set by Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC). However, political parties could still substitute names of their running mates before the window for substitution closes on the 15th of July. With about 8 days to that deadline, a report by Vanguard claimed that Labour Party will on Friday unveil Senator Yusuf Datti Baba Ahmed as running mate to Peter Obi. Well, it was actually unveiled. The announcement has been causing some excitement among Obi followers on social media platforms, especially after the major talks between Peter Obi's Labour Party and Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso's new Nigerian People's Party (NNPP) collapsed because of the inability to get either man to be the running mate. Reacting to the news of Baba Ahmed as Peter Obi's running mate, Jaffa claimed that the former senator set some conditions that Obi must openly denounce the indigenous people of Biafra, that's IPOB, and secession before accepting the offer. Peter Obi has reached out to some northern politicians in search of vice presidential slot. Top among them is Datti Baba Ahmed, who set conditions before accepting the offer. Credible sources said the conditions include open denunciation of IPOB and secession by Peter Obi. Well, Peter Obi has reached out to some, I'm quoting him now, Jaffa. He said Peter Obi has reached out to some northern politicians in search of vice presidential aspirant. Top among them is Datti Baba Ahmed, who set conditions before accepting the offer. Credible sources said the conditions include open denunciation of IPOB and secession by Obi. Well, with the search that has now been settled, now we are moving straight long into the news of the day. Well, in another news, very quickly, the likes of Alex Oti believes that he welcomes with excitement Mr. Peter Obi's choice of Dr. Yusuf Datti, a seasoned economist, as our party vice presidential flag bearer. The Labour Party has once again affirmed its readiness to do things differently by the caliber and track records of its candidate. That this one is coming from Alex Oti, but here the exact was the likes of Adeyanju said that is shocking everyone. Honestly, I don't know how he got that information. I've never heard of social media presidency, but it looks like there's one based on what Deji Adeyanju said. Let me quote him word for word. He said, if it is true that Datti Baba Ahmed is Obi's vice presidential candidate, then I'm so sure this is a social media presidency. This ticket reminds me of Shehu Sani, who has 2.6 million followers on Twitter, but scored just 2 votes at the PDP primaries. Of all the jobless former governors in the north, Obi couldn't find any My God, talk about sarcasm. But the question now is, could it be true? Saying that, and it's calling former governors jobless. My God, that was quite rude. But okay, but let's look at the claim he made that the likes of Shehu Sani only got 2 votes. That's because Shehu Sani refused to part with his hard in cash. Look at the way the dollar was raining. Who has that kind of money to be wasting after you finish wasting your money as a, or should I call it investing in delegate in the name of trying to vote by? Then after you finish doing that, if they eventually did it, after you finish doing that, you will not be looking, then you now still be looking at the money for campaigning proper. It's not it's not something that anybody who does not have enough either looted or invested money to keep. You can't go into such. Sani have counted his losses. He has moved on. He's hoping and praying that there will be a Nigeria that will come in where the vote of the people will count, not the vote of delegate that have the highest dollar in his pocket. Why we keep saying this? That's the reason why you see Nigerians clamoring for something different. A whole lot of people are wondering, with Datti, with social media presidency, that they your Jew. My God, his sarcasm is actually in high heavens. I don't believe he's a social media president. I believe that. If you have ever watched the trend of elections campaign in Nigeria, it always begins on social media. Yes, even the one that brought in the present dispensation, it was strictly on social media first before the thing went down, because you need to reach out to people. People need to begin to, have a lot of ideology. A lot of Nigerians then in 2015, in 2010, 2009, 2011, a whole lot of them, they just feel our vote really doesn't count. Not really that it doesn't count, it was simply because who are you really voting for? The same circle. If PDP is full, they all rush to APC. Once APC is no more accommodating, they move down to PDP. Look at what is happening in northern Nigeria. A lot of APC members have ported from APC to PDP. Yes. Why, I don't know. You see, some too will still migrate from APC, PDP to APC. A lot of people believe that right now, like there's some notes that Loretta Onoche dropped on her page. You would agree with me that it looks like there's a lot of broken lines right now felt in APC. APC is just trying to hold, on the broken lines, but at some point it will just poof, everybody will find their level. It's just because they all came with like interest. You can imagine weights, heavyweights all coming in, all of them looking for the same ticket. So at some point, they will outwit one another, and at some point there will be disgruntled elements. But to think that Peter Obi and Datti, social media presidency, I strongly doubt it. I doubt it. At this rate now, this whole campaign, this whole election period have been thrown open. Kwangwaso have not picked his running mate yet, and I don't see the likes of Wike leaving a big party like PDP to NNPP. It's not going to work. So Kwangwaso will need to look for probably a strong southerner to merge. Now we have Kwangwaso dragging his own weight in the northern part. Then we also have PDP having their own weight, whether you like it or not. That's still the main opposition. We have APC, that is the ruling progressive party right now. They still have the power of incumbents. Then we now have the new force, the new third force of Labour Party, having a stronghold in the northern part. So it's an open, it has been thrown open. It can go either way. That's we're going to wrap it up. Let's meet in our comment section. What's your take? Do you believe what the Jadian just said, that is a social media presidency? Well, from the beginning, the likes of Peter Obi had never really associated himself with IPOB. So it's not really difficult